Welcome. I'm Professor Yang, and I'm going to be the director of the Singapore program, the course on business and environment that will provide a survey of some of the most important sustainability and climate change issues that companies and the world face today. What is the course about? The course is essentially a basic survey and a deep dive into just some of the key issues like climate change and sustainable development and international trade in the environment. And so as part of that, I expect for us to teach you some of the basic introductory concepts, fundamental concepts of environmental law and business law, as well as engage in a careful discussion, inquiry into climate change, sustainable development, and international trade as they affect both the Southeast Asia region and also the globe. What better place to learn about these things than in a place like Singapore? Those of you who are not familiar with Singapore, it's a small island nation that faces many of the sustainability issues faced by the world generally. It's a vibrant economy that has a growing population, attracting the cream of the crop of people from all over Asia, that has and sports the modern amenities of Western life, but at the same time also has a very limited land base and set of natural resources. And in that sense, all of the issues of sustainability, how we manage the relationship and the use of natural resources and pollution are faced by Singapore on a day-to-day basis. And so some of the issues that we'll be exploring in the course as they affect the global environment will be concretely visible in the place that we'll be studying them. One other reason that I want to point out that I think Singapore is a great place to do all this is that it's just a great city. It's one of my favorite places to visit. Expect it to be hot and humid because it is located in the tropics, but at the same time, the climate also leaves the city lush and beautiful, which is also why it's oftentimes referred to as a garden city in East Asia. For those of you who have never visited an East Asian country, again, Singapore is a wonderful place to start. It'll provide you with most of the amenities of North American and Western European living, while also introducing you to the multicultural aspects of East Asian life. It's vibrant, and many of the things that you see in your home states, home cities will be available in this particular place. One other quick note that I want to make about my background and then of the other teachers is that I've engaged in environmental law teaching and practice for almost 25 years. In addition to teaching environmental law and researching it, I've served as Deputy General Counsel of the US EPA, representing the federal government, and also dealing with businesses and other agencies. I've served as an attorney in the US Department of Justice, and even early in my career as an attorney with a large private corporate law firm. Other teachers in the program will include local Singaporean professors teaching us about environmental law in the area and also business law concepts. In addition to the academic in-class component of the program, I expect for us to engage in some site visits, at least 3, possibly even 4, including the Singapore Supreme Court, the International Arbitration Center, where many of the region's most important business disputes are resolved, and also the Singapore Water Reclamation Plant. This is a state-of-the-art facility that essentially turns wastewater, sewage, back into potable drinking water. It's one of the key components of Singapore's effort to be more sustainable and become less dependent on resources such as water from its neighbor, Malaysia. I'm sure there'll also be other opportunities to explore other parts of the lush surroundings of Singapore, and we'll be planning those when we get closer. In terms of externships, many of those do depend on the process of matching up a student with an appropriate employer and the background and qualifications. But in the past, we have sent students to UNESCO in Cambodia and also to some organizations in India, as well as, of course, local organizations right in Singapore. What can you expect as a student once you get there, apart from the academics? What do people do for social events? What kind of activities are included in Singapore or nearby? And as I said, Singapore really is one of my favorite places to be. It's safe, modern, vibrant, multicultural. And so there are tons of cultural things to do, ranging from the local museums, the parks, exploring the multicultural ethnic neighborhoods that essentially have populations from all over the world, including, of course, all over East Asia. Very large Indian population. You'll be able to explore Chinatown there, an Arab quarter. And one of my favorite aspects of Singapore is the food. It's fabulous, it's inexpensive. Simply, the food scene is just incredible. I think this is true generally for Southeast Asia because of the multicultural makeup of the society. My most favorite food item is called Hainan chicken. It is something that everybody in the program will have to experience, and if not, I will force students, but maybe in the words of a former faculty director, quote, "The food is fantastic, plan to eat as much as possible." One other word about exploring other parts of Southeast Asia. As you'll be able to tell from the map, Singapore is very centrally located in the region. It's literally a boat ride or a train ride away into Malaysia, resort islands like Penang, very close to Indonesia. You can explore Bali, the resort island. But with these days, low budget or budget airlines, very easy to get to Hong Kong, Bangkok, Cambodia, Vietnam, any of the other regional areas. The only thing that I, as program director, would request is that if you do leave the country or go somewhere over the weekend, do let me know so that if something comes up, we know how to get a hold of you. What's the area like around our program location, Singapore Management University? It's close to the heart of the city, the downtown core, right next to Fort Canning Park, in the vicinity of lots and lots of restaurants, cafes, and shops, meaning that it is easily accessible to the waterfront, to public transportation, and to many cultural amenities like the National Gallery, museums, theaters, the Marina Bay Sands Hotel, quite well known, Gardens by the Bay, a beautiful network of greenhouses and waterfront parks, and the Singapore Flyer, 165-meter tall Ferris wheel. I hope that maybe all of us can go there as part of a social excursion. Housing. What do we suggest about housing? There really are a very broad range of resources that will be available to students. Usually, we recommend looking on Airbnb, which operates in Singapore as well. It's the most flexible and probably the most cost-effective option for most students. The other place to look would be online at our program website. Our program online brochure lists options for hostels and other budget-oriented accommodation. And sometime in March, our program will create a Facebook group for all of the students in this particular program that will allow you to figure out who is part of it and for you to get in touch with each other so that you can decide maybe to find housing jointly and therefore manage the costs and the amenities that come with that. One thing that we recommend in looking at all of this is to just keep in mind that everybody's budget and family circumstances are different. Some students decide to bring their whole family. Some students would like to be close to particular places. All of that and our arrangements provide you with the flexibility to accomplish those kinds of goals. In summary, this is a program that anybody who's interested in the environment or cares about how business deals with the environment should consider. I'm really excited about sharing my insight, my experience, and especially looking forward to spending some time in Singapore with you and showing you some of the most interesting parts of that region of the world. For additional questions, feel free to email me if you have substantive program questions. For logistical matters, email our program coordinator, Carly Cole. Thank you.